Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Vintage Story Unearthed. Today, I'm going to be taking you through a little bit of forging. So I hope you've all placed your bets, because I've figured out what it is that I'm going to be turning this into. And I don't think many of you are going to end up getting your money's worth. But anyway, I just finished sleeping. There's a bunch of drifters out and about. But first thing on my list today, actually I might as well just eat this last bit of food, is to build myself a forge. Because I can't use this new ingot mold unless I've got something to like heat it up in, because I can't really squeeze it back into the crucible that I have. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and get myself a forge going. So a forge is simple enough, it's just a bunch of cobblestone, but I haven't exactly been harvesting any from the nearby ruins or anything, so I think I'm going to have to make some, which is a bunch of stones of any type. It doesn't have to be limestone, and some kind of clay. It can either be fire clay or blue clay, and that'll make 2. And looking at what I have currently in storage, it looks like limestone is what it's going to be. So I'm going to take my clay, my limestone that I have, and I can only make 2. No, that's enough. There we go, just enough. I've got 8. I only needed 7, but yeah. Anyway, I still have limestone for later on. I'll probably end up picking a bunch up anyway, because I'm in a limestone biome. But with that in mind, let's craft up a forge. It's one of the simplest recipes you can come up with, really. It's just 7 cobblestone, and you get yourself a forge. It's really just a place to house ingots to be heated up. And again, as this is not exactly the most hospitable of areas, seeing my gear going the wrong way, I'm just going to set this stuff down temporarily. Actually, I didn't really want to put that there. You can actually break cobblestone with your bare hands. It just takes a little bit longer. But I do really like to just break it with the pick after all, because it just takes so long, or it can. Anyway, I've got this ingot that I'm going to put in here. Now, by itself, that won't work. You're going to need something to heat it up with. Thankfully, I've got, let's see, do I have charcoal? Yep. Let me grab, oh, I've already got a bunch of charcoal in my inventory. You don't need much. As I've only got 1 ingot in here, I think I'm going to do 1 piece of charcoal, and that'll be more than enough. If you're putting in multiples, then you might need to put in more, or if you're constantly putting in ingots or taking them out, then yeah, you can still just sneak right-click to place them in there. But that's just something that you could do. Anyway, I've got charcoal that I need to put away. Oh, that reminds me, I can write with charcoal. Oh, I forgot about that, which I think I just wrote on the wall several times behind there. I don't have a way of erasing yet. That would involve a watering can, but if you want, I believe, you can just, yeah, I held Control and just clicked there, and I have now put a little marker on the wall. Now, if you want, you just press F, just like you would with any other item, to customize it, like chiseling or hammering or things that I really haven't shown you much of. But you can then choose the item that you want, and in this case, I usually like to go with the X. I mean, sometimes I like to do a little bit something else, but X is great for wandering around in caves, and I think I'm actually going to carry this charcoal with me, unless, wait a second. I have limestone, and that works as a pigment as well, and that's a lot cheaper. So I think I'm going to carry the limestone around with me, now that I think about it. Oh, that's right, limestone doesn't work like that. It may be a pigment, but it's not going to allow me to actually write on the wall. Chalk would allow me to do that, and I think I've gotten that confused with that, because I've run around with chalk a lot in the past. So I'm going to carry about 15 pieces of charcoal with me, just for when I need to mark things in caves. Maybe I've been here, or this is the direction I need to go, etc. As per usual, you just need to light things up with a torch. Got to be careful though. I mean, this isn't really going to catch on fire, but if you do keep on trying to light it, you could light the next block over or something like that by mistake. And you just don't want to set things on fire like that unless you just like to see the world burn. Now, just to make sure that I have some cover here, I don't want this to go out for any reason. I doubt that it would, but I just am putting that up there. Now here's something that you don't see every day. You get to take this anvil. You think, alright, is this painful because I fell down? Yes, it is. It did not work. Sneaking on top of this did not allow me to actually get to the edge. But you'd think, can I just pop this anvil out of this mold without breaking it? Of course not. But hey, you know what? It's Vintage Story, and that hasn't been patched in yet. So until something like that happens, I can place down an anvil just like that. And yes, you can just right click to pick things back up again and place it, but as it's just going to take up more space, I'm going to leave it in here for now and just wait for this to get up to a hot enough temperature. Now, what is the hot enough temperature? Usually, once that fuel burns up, that's going to be as hot as it's going to get unless you have more fuel in there. So what I'm going to need is my hammer, and I'm going to start customizing this on my anvil. Then you need to make sure, once again, you have your tongs in hand, and then you can right click to pick it up. Otherwise, you're going to end up burning your hands and dropping it on the ground and taking a little bit of damage in the process. Now, if you sneak right click with a hot ingot, it will then give you all sorts of things that you could potentially make. Yes, a lightning rod is good. It can direct lightning, but keep in mind, it will direct lightning. So you don't want to have things that can like die near the lightning rod. You want to have the lightning rod high up in the air so that it will direct the lightning at that and not just damage other stuff. But that's for a different thing. Anyway, I was saying before I would most likely end up going with a saw blade or a prospecting pick. And in this case, if I get the saw blade, it unlocks a whole ton of stuff, I will have to admit. It is extremely tempting. And the copper shears is just great for getting sticks fast and easy. Scythes are great for farming things as well as getting like grasses and stuff. But without a prospecting pick, I'm really going to be struggling finding metals, as it already took me... now, the last episode was only like a half hour for you guys. It was actually 2.5 hours for me, because I did that much wandering around looking for copper. So in this case, I'm going to make that. And with this turned on, if you want to change your settings on this, you can actually see things a little bit better here. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Bring up my settings. And under the accessibility tab, you look at wireframe colors. There is different colors that you can choose if you're having difficulty in seeing some of them. I like the default. But then you can also change the wireframe thickness. I've got mine at 1.5 just to make it a little bit easier. 1 is I think the default, but you can see it gets really thick. It can get super thick and a little bit ridiculous. But 1.5 I find makes it easy enough for you to actually see this. Now, no, this will not stay hot forever. You can see that the temperature at the top is dropping rapidly. But I'm going to try and actually move things around. So with the hammer in hand, you can tell it where you want these voxels to go. It's a little mini game. And in this case, I want to have it go to the left. There we go. It just went to the left. Now, if I right click, I will rotate this around. I've made a tutorial on this, so please feel free to check out the tutorial online. Now, I will currently be constantly moving voxels to the left. So instead, I'm going to want to move to down. And then there we go. It looks like I've already completed it, but there's actually a whole bunch that I need to carve out at this point. So by picking this split, you will take things away. Otherwise, these are all directional, and the heavy hit will just kind of smash things out. Well, here, I'll do one for you. You can see it kind of moves a whole bunch of voxels at once. But I don't really care about that, because I am just trying to make myself a prospecting pick so I can find more metal and get myself a saw. Now, if you miss one of these, you can still knock one of these other ones into place, but keep in mind that it can get a little bit tricky at times on how to do that. Alright, well, that was simple enough. I now have my prospecting pick head, which still would be very hot to handle if I didn't have my tongs in place, but as soon as you put a stick on it, it then becomes cool. Yep, it sure does. Anyway, that aside, let's put my tongs down here for now, because that's really where it's going to be useful, is out here. And we're going to go prospecting. Now, I hear some of you being, oh, prospecting, nah. Well, don't worry about it. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I don't have much problem with it. Originally I did, but especially since the new map changes, where you've got a prospecting layer that you can actually see different things on here, and adjust your different waypoints and terrains and so on, it's become so much easier. I have no longer been using extra mods to help me keep track of the prospecting, because the maps do it for you now. So I'll just cook this up, then I'll start heading out, and I can start showing you guys a little bit about prospecting, though I also did make a video about that too, if you are curious. Now, just to emphasize how important meal making is instead of just eating something raw, is that a carrot, for example, would give 100 saturation. That's just one of these little bars. Once I've made this, I'll have 6 servings, And you'd think, well, if I have 4 carrots in each bowl, not cooking pot, but in each food bowl like this here, then you'd think, well, it's going to be at least 400 saturation. Well, you're right on that aspect. But now that it's done, let's have a look at it. And you can see the saturation is 600. So you're getting a 50% increase in the amount of food that you basically get out of it by cooking it proper like that. So I'm just going to toss this hot bowl into my inventory, and then I should have a bunch ready and available for me to journey with. Now, let's just head out. So what I usually like to do is try and get into the middle of like a flat area or the start of one and then start working in one direction or another. So I think what I'm going to do is actually head over towards that trader over there and work from there. Bringing a shovel with you is actually quite important, and I don't see why I didn't think about that before I left, but you're going to need it just so you can access stone in order to kind of get your samples. Now, sometimes you can get some really good samples by finding a large structure that kind of sticks up like this over here. This being on the edge of like this massive flattish area is not a bad start. This way I have an idea of what's in the general area. Now it can vary considerably, and there are multiple modes with a prospecting pick. If you press F, there will be multiple modes, just like there is for a lot of things. But you can see here we've got density search mode, long range, chance-based search. This means nothing is guaranteed. But this one here, node search mode, short range, exact search. This will search up to, I believe it's 8 blocks away, or is it 6? I can't remember. It's somewhere around there. And you should be able to determine if there is something exactly in that area just by breaking a single block. What's not mentioned is that the density search mode, it should say something about like requires 3 samples, you know, in a certain range or something like that, but it doesn't. So we're just gonna kind of deal with that. What I'm gonna do is start here on this edge. I'm gonna go with density search mode so we can get a sample of what's in the area, and then you just need to break a stone. And you can see it says, okay, need 2 more samples, but they can't be too close together. So I like to go at least 3 blocks away and then start the next one. And you'll know that it worked when it says need 1 more sample. If it says need 2 more samples, then you're still too close. So then I go at least 3 blocks away, start breaking the 4th one, and our sample is done. Decent amount of native copper, very poor cassiterite, halite, galena, sphalerite, and minuscule amounts of cinnabar, lapis, and sulfur. Now these are all possibilities. This is not exact. And if you want to learn more about it, hitting tab will bring that back up. You can click on the guide here, and it will tell you all about prospecting in there, which is kind of crazy. Now you'd think, all right, well that's great. There's a decent amount of copper. I should just start digging down. No. You want to make sure that you get the best amount of copper that you can possibly get, and the highest possibility of finding it. So with that in mind, let's actually move a little bit further away. Right there, I've got this. This is the prospecting layer. I can now remove that and turn it on. And the yellow represents how much of something is found. Now, if I want, because of all those different things that were actually found, I can just have it be, like, I can turn off. Actually, let's keep the terrain on. We'll turn the waypoints off, and you can see that native copper, I only have 1. Galena, it's very red. Halite, it's red. So the red ones are very low or unlikely amounts are to be found in this case. But if I go with copper, then that one says yellow. So it's almost a really good possibility of finding that like a really high chance. And that's just for copper. Low percentages don't mean that it's bad. Sometimes a low percentage for one ore can be really high for another. So let's see, from here, if I work that way, it's going to be really difficult traversing. So I might just head over this direction. What's the waypoint here? It looks like if I head this way, I'm going to want to go about 100 blocks away. So let's see, 665, 670. So I'm probably going to want to head over to that. Often what I will sometimes use is something like if it goes off my minimap or just about goes off my minimap, that sometimes can be a good way of finding stuff too. Plus there's some turnips here, so I might as well just break these and grab them. Okay, so here's my method of finding stuff. Yes, I dig straight down, but I go down to shale rock, or at least the first sign of rock, and then I will break this. Actually, what I can do I will show you guys. I will break this one. It's still on the same mode, and then once I've broken it, I then sit. And it says I need 2 more samples. So then what I need to do is mine 3 blocks out. And it doesn't matter which direction, but I do like to go in opposite directions, just because, why not? Alright, now with that in mind, I can then break this one for my second sample, and then it says I need 1 more sample, and there we go. Now this is why working on a flat ground is easier, because if it's very sloped, doing this process that I'm showing you right now, not so easy. But still, native copper is poor, so I'm actually going in the wrong direction. Looking at my map, you can see that it's gone orange at this point. So because I'm looking for copper specifically, let's look for copper, have that on the map, and I need to actually... Now it could be that it'll increase going up here, or increase going down here, but either way, I just don't want to head in this direction anymore. So then I just build my way back up, and I'm out. There's like a little divot in the ground where I did that dig, and that's pretty much all the evidence that you might find of what I've left there. So I usually like to work just off of one axis at a time. If I start going like diagonally and stuff like that, it's only because the terrain makes it a little too difficult for me to do that. So what I'm going to try and do is line myself up on the mini map up here. You can see I'm now kind of parallel to it, or equal to it. Is that? Oh, that's just spelled. Nothing big there. And then I'm just going to move until that's about the edge of the map and do another check. Now in this case, I'm really close to this. So instead of digging down, I might just come over here and grab a cheeky sample. Because then I'm saving myself a little time, a little bit of effort, and then I can get a sample nonetheless. That's pretty close. There we go. Oh, poor copper. So that looks like I'm already on a good line. Now, do I need to go up higher or down lower from this? It'd be funny if this is actually like the best point. So what I'm going to do is head back this direction and then head kind of north of it and get another sample. Now you can, like I said, just you can feasibly just start digging. There's nothing wrong with that if you really want to. If you find a really good amount, it's very possible that there are multiple deposits down below you. But again, I like to get the highest percentage that I can, or get as close to it as possible. There we go. It's just at the edge of my map. And now I'm going to start digging down right here. Now because this one actually is on a bit of a slope, I don't have a stone that I can break right here, but I can still go down the slope. 1, 2, 3 blocks are still away, and then the 4th block I can still break down here. And that gives me information on the map. Again, it looks like it's getting even worse going north, so maybe I head south. It's possible there could be a fantastic deposit down here even, and I'm just on the cusp of this. Or there's like some smaller areas, who knows? Next, I think I'm going to start looking over here. Okay, this is actually really good. Very high native copper from this one, so it is actually getting better the further south I go. So what I might do again is go another length further just to see how it ends up. And then for that one, ultra high copper. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've actually seen ultra high copper before. That's quite impressive. I wonder if I keep going south, if it's going to stay the same or if it's going to be any worse. It's so weird. There we go, and again, still ultra high native copper, but let's take a look. 33.3%. This is 30.46%, so I'm still finding it even more likely going further south, but I am also getting closer to a forest, so it's another reason to be a little extra cautious. With that in mind, I think I'm going to travel with my light and my spear so that I am prepared for any kind of encounters I might find, unless of course it's a bear, in which case I just need to run as fast as possible. But I am getting closer to the forest, it's fine. Going into a forest is not going to just kill you going into it. A lot of the times they're safe, but there's also a much higher percentage chance of finding wolves. So here I go doing another dig. And hopefully this might be the edge of the super high stuff that I'm finding. And there we go. Oh, it's just down to native high copper. So I think it looks like this is probably a good line to start with. Now, based on my percentages up here, 8.08, 6.77, most likely the best concentration is probably going to be slightly in this direction. So I might try mining over here and seeing how that looks. So this just gives me an idea of where my center is for the highest concentration amounts. And as this is 2% higher than this one is, that means that it's probably a little bit more towards that. And I think there is probably a good point to start with. So I'm going to put a big X on the map and call that my mining spot for the moment. Now you can continue and be a lot more precise about this stuff, but I think what I'm going to do is just kind of do one sample on the way down, but then just dig my way down. The problem is I don't have enough sticks for a lot of ladders, so I am going to need to do a little bit of, well, shearing, I guess, in some way, shape, or form, or using my axe perhaps just for some quick tree leaf harvesting. Because my pick durability is only at 150, so I only have a limited amount that I could dig, and if I don't find what I'm looking for here, or I have difficulty in locating something, then I'm going to run out of durability on this, and that you can't actually get ores with a prospecting pick. So I need to be right the first time, hopefully. But with the sticks I do have, I can feasibly make ladders. Now if I had a saw, I could make a lot cheaper ladders, but I don't. So I'm going to go with what I've got, and we'll see how I get on with 15 ladders, and I'll take out that soil for now. Now here's the thing, I could just keep digging down and down and down, but if I forget to put the ladders down, I might not realize just how deep I am and forget. Now here's the thing, with regular ladders, or even rope ladders, you only need to do it every other. So to save myself on the sticks at the moment, see, I can just climb up and down, no problem. I can do that. And because I'm on the ladder, I don't actually fall down. So this is a much safer way of doing this. So I can just click and place one down and then proceed to dig down. Now if I want, I can actually change the mode on my prospecting pick to node search mode, which gives me an exact search for a limited area. And I can use that for just one of these. Let's start with this one. I don't think I'm going to find anything this close to the surface, but you never know. Well, it says, found the following ore nodes. Flint, trace amounts. Well, I'm not really interested in flint, so I'm going to keep on digging down. Just try to remember how many blocks it was that you ended up doing that. And if you've got an ore node search radius of, let's say, 6 instead of, or 8 or something like that, then you just need to make sure that you go double that distance before you take another one so that you don't use up more on your prospecting pick than you need to. So in this case, I've only gone about 6 blocks, so I'm going to need to go at least another 6 to 8 blocks. You can also always look at the XYZ values on your minimap if you want. You can change those settings just by going into your settings. Okay, so we found the following ore nodes. There's a bunch, actually. Flint, quartz, and then silver in quartz. Okay, this is good and bad, because if I run into a quartz layer, then that kind of means I can't get down low enough to get to the copper. Quartz layers can be very large, and they require a much sturdier tool than the one that I'm using. Now in this case, I think I've been fortunate so far, because I have not actually run into any quartz, so I think it's off to the sides. But that does mean that there's silver nearby, too. Yep, still says native silver and quartz, trace amounts. This usually means that it's just on the edge of the detection range of your prospecting pick. And something you should also be aware of is that it's possible that drifters can come down or fall into your open hole of your prospecting pit. So it might actually be not a bad idea to take this and just kind of put a little something to stop that from happening. Oh no, it looks like my gear is spinning even faster because I'm going deeper. Great. This means I'm on a time limit as well. Okay, time to start hustling. Okay, and I've run out of ladders. My gear is spinning like crazy town here, and I don't want to fall down there and get trapped forever because I only have like a few pieces of dirt. So I think what I'm going to do is head back up, go gather myself a whole lot of sticks so I can make more ladders and come back down here, and then we'll proceed from there. I usually do like to leave a marker there just in case so that I don't accidentally fall down a pit and so that it's a little bit easier to find. Okay, so I've run really far away from where I was. I was down here, but I had to run really far just to get my gear to start spinning in the right direction. But now that I'm out here, what I'm going to do is actually take some of the flint that I have, make up a couple of axes, and just start hacking away at all the trees in the area. There we go. So I've got 2 backup axes and a half of one right now, and I was using it to just chop down some of the leftovers of a tree that I had started chopping down earlier. But I'm just looking for sticky branches really right now, and maybe even clearing out a little bit of the vegetation, getting a few more seeds, because if I get some seeds or nuts or anything like that, then I might be able to replant some of these trees, even if they don't have sticky branches, allowing me to start making more of this. But I have plenty of resources for making the really cheap stuff like flint axes. Now, while I'm out here, though, I am prioritizing looking at the pine trees. And I'm going to mine up a little bit on them just to see if there's possibility of any resin on any of these things. Not to say that I'm going to find it, but you never can tell, and it wouldn't hurt to look while I'm out here. Oh, I got lucky. I found a leaking pine log with resin. Now this is just because I've been prioritizing looking at pine. Once I found some pines, then I just started looking on all of the outskirts of it. If you look here, I'm kind of like on the outskirts of this massive forest. This definitely means that there's a very good possibility that there's more leaking in there. So just right-clicking, you can grab it, it goes into your inventory, and you're good. Now you can try to grow more pines, which is fine, but you're not going to be getting any more of the pine, what do you call it, the resin in this case. So I am not going to want to chop this tree down. Instead, I'm going to want to make sure to mark it, so I'm putting it on my map. And then I'm going to put orange and a little pine tree, and then I'm just going to call it resin. Now, as I find more and more resin trees over time, I then start making like this resin run route, where I just start at one, and then I just continue on making this either circle or a path, gathering a whole bunch at a time, because quite often you're going to need resin regularly, but it's not always there. So when you do go out, you're going to want to make sure to get as many as you possibly can. So another helpful tip for finding resin when you're running through a forest is go at it diagonally. Maybe pick a start point and an end point and just cut through at one angle. And the reason being is you're seeing 2 faces at once of the tree trunks as you're going through, and then on your way back you'll start seeing the other 2 faces, and this will allow you to actually see all 4 sides of the pines, and you've made yourself some lines to get through. Now, this has been a fantastically blueberry-rich forest. I have not seen a single wolf, bear, or any other livestock. So it's actually been a really fantastic forest. Finding resin here, there, and everywhere. I forgot to mark this one, so as well as blueberries. So this is great. Well, here I am back with my gear recharged, ready to go down. Oh, let me take my shield off. That's a little bit annoying. Put this on instead. And we're gonna see if I can actually dig down and find this copper vein that I am trying to find. Now, I did end up getting a whole bunch more sticks, as you already know, but there is a problem, is that I'm still on that time limit. And I did look it up. It's 6 blocks that I need to go before I can... or my prospecting pick has a range of 6 blocks. So... yeah, that's it by default. I did not change that. It's just that in the past I have had it differently, like when we play on our supporter server or something like that. But in this case, it's just 6. So I'm going to go down a few ladders. Ooh, down to slate. That's interesting. And then give it another check to see if I can find anything there. Okay, so I just found quartz and silver. Oh, this far down? That's actually kind of scary. And it looks like I've hit the end of the road here, because my copper pick will not actually pierce quartz. It says at the top there, requires tool tier 3 bronze to break, which wah is a sad day, so I need to go all the way back up, because this is just not going to work where I'm at. Alright, so I'm going to try an unorthodox approach. Typically, I just do exactly what I had done before at that X, and tried going down to find... copper, but instead what I'm going to do, since I just did a sample over here and it's still ultra high, which is really close to where it is there, I have a good feeling that there's a possibility here. I'm already down a few blocks, so this might save a little bit of durability on my pick, which doesn't have much durability left. In fact, it has 85 durability left, so Let's hope that it'll be enough that I can get downstairs and mine things. Now, I would use my prospecting pick just to get through some of the stone, but it's such a slow slog. What I am going to do, though, is just try mining down pretty much where I'm at in this little cave. And don't worry, there's just like some rabbits and stuff running around down there. Nothing really to worry about. I did get a whole bunch more sticks. And now, to just cross my fingers and hope that I don't run into another shelf of quartz, which may still be nearby. Oh, native copper. Large amounts nearby. Okay, so this is where I need to start searching then. I'm very excited, even though my wheel is spinning horribly bad. So I just did this one here. I'm going to do another one right next to it. It'll probably come up with the exact same result, which is fine. Yep, large amounts. So then I'm going to come up about, let's say, 4 blocks, mine again, and see what that says, so that I can try and find where it's at. No ore node nearby. Okay, so if I come down, this is actually really, really good. Oh my gosh, finally. I might have enough durability left on this to get to it. Oof, I used up half my durability just getting down here, but we'll see. So let me just mine down, and we'll see if I run into a disc of copper. And as luck would have it, I did. Oh my gosh, I'm so lucky here. All right, and it is medium. That is fine. I don't really care. Okay, so let me just mine down a little bit into it, and then I can get a bunch of it in my inventory so that I don't worry about not having enough once my pick breaks. And here's the other thing. I'm going to mine behind this. Nothing to worry about there, because I can just click on the bottom of this ladder with another ladder and it will go over it, and then yeah, it's fine. So I'm just going to mine up a bunch of copper until this pick breaks, and then I'll be back. Now, is this all the copper in this area? No. Does this disc cover the entire area? No. There are multiple discs, most likely, in the area, so there's just more common, it's more likely that you're going to run into these discs of copper in the area. So there could be one here, there could be another one that overlaps it at a different height here, could be one over here, could be a whole bunch of them all like dotted around in here. So that's kind of how it works, and most of the time any of the ores are in a disc pattern, and what I mean is it's just flat like a pancake, and you just find it that way. Now, if there's a big slope to the terrain, it may end up following that slope, so it could be a slanted pancake, or even like a jagged one, depending upon how like spiky the nearby terrain is. And there we have it. That seems to be the end of my pick, which is fine. I got 33 medium chunks, and I still have a hammer at home that I can use to process this, so this is fantastic. Alright, now to head back. And not a moment too soon either. I have to admit, I'm a bit concerned because my cogwheel is kind of going really, really fast in the wrong direction, and it's getting really low. Let's see, what are we at? 26%. That's not good. I could have started taking damage. I might have started spawning mobs around me, and that might have just been the end of me right there. Alright, I'm back at base. I have my hammer, I have my copper, and how much do I get? Oh, look at that, 128 plus 4, that's grand. So just by dumping an entire stack of copper in here, you can see it'd make 6 ingots worth. Well, I don't really need that much. What I do need, I've got a few ingots worth here, is probably a new pick, a new hammer, and of course a couple of ingots wouldn't hurt. So if I could get 4, actually, I've got 3 ingot molds, so I might as well go the extra mile here. There we go, 5 units. That'll mean 3 ingot molds plus those. Do I have? Oh, I've got another ingot mold out there. So heck, why not go the extra mile and do 6 copper? Yes. And then we'll make everything next time. And I'll make a pick, a hammer, plus 4 ingots that we can turn into different stuff. Maybe even make another pick. But either way, then I can go back and get even more resources so I can make even more. This is really exciting. And I hope that you find that interesting as well, because next time I'm going to be making so much stuff. There's going to be so much to do and so little time to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video of Vintage Story Unearthed. If so, please be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, stop by on Twitch, visit us while we're streaming live, or go visit us on our Mischief of Mice 2 channel, where we also post our live VODs from Twitch. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.